They say every town holds a secret, but Maplewood's secret breathes. It sighs through the willow trees, drifts along the cracked cobblestones, and hums beneath the silver bones of the Halloween moon. On certain nights, when the fog curls around the lamps like restless souls, and the air trembles with unseen memory, one might hear a faint whisper, her name, Lydia Harper. She was born under a moon that watched too closely. The midwife swore she heard the wind speak that night, not howl, but speak, a voice older than the stars, murmuring a curse and a promise in the same breath. And as the first cry of the child filled the cottage, the candles flickered blue, and every shadow in the room turned its head toward the cradle. "You shall not walk the world as others do," said the unseen voice, soft as falling ash. "You shall sleep through the turning months, awakening only when the moon wears her silver mask. On that night, and only that night, the dream and the living shall meet, and your choice shall decide the fate of love itself." Then silence fell, not the silence of peace, but of something unseen holding its breath. Only the low hum of the wind beyond the walls, and the newborn's tender sigh. Her mother looked around, uneasy. Her father drew the child close, but neither saw the faint shimmer beneath Lydia's eyelids, the first flicker of another realm already claiming her dreams. As she grew, the curse lingered like perfume. Lydia would sleep for days when other children played, and when she awoke, her eyes carried the look of one who had traveled far. She would speak softly of places with no doors, of rivers made of light, of voices who wait in mirrors. Her parents would hush her, fearing what they could not name. Yet each year, on Halloween night, the town would sense her awakening. Windows rattled without wind. Cats stared at nothing. And far above, the moon seemed to tilt her pale face toward the Harper house, watching the sleeping girl with ancient curiosity. Years ripened like apples in autumn. The once tiny girl grew into a young woman of quiet grace, her beauty half real, half remembered, the kind that painters dream of but can never capture. And yet she remained a creature of in-between worlds. When the clock struck midnight on Halloween, Lydia would awaken, her breath fogging the glass of the mortal world, her soul stepping lightly between shadow and light. In dreams, she wandered the town of Maplewood as if through mist. She watched the living from afar, children laughing around bonfires, lovers sharing secrets beneath lanterns, old men raising mugs to the dying year. And though she smiled, a sorrow lingered in her heart, a yearning she could not name. Her dreams were beautiful, but they were not life. Each Halloween she would awaken, and each dawn sleep again. Years folded like forgotten pages, her story repeating, unchanged, until even time grew weary of her slumber. But fate, as ever, was patient. It waited for the one spark that could awaken her heart, not from sleep, but from eternity. And so, one year, as the moon rose swollen and strange, the veil between worlds thinned, Lydia dreamed of a young man walking through the streets of Maplewood, tall, calm, with laughter that sounded like the wind rustling through autumn leaves. She did not know his name, yet her heart stirred. The moment she saw him, she felt the stillness of centuries tremble within her, and the shadows that watched her whispered, "He is the one." That night, for the first time, Lydia did not want to wake.
She wanted to cross the veil, to reach out through the dream, to touch the warmth she had never known. But the curse held her fast. The dream began to fade, the moon turned pale, and as the first light of dawn crept across her room, Lydia's tears shimmered like tiny stars on her pillow. And far away, the young man, Ethan Carter, paused suddenly in the street. A chill brushed his neck, like the softest whisper of a name he had never heard, yet somehow remembered. He turned toward the forest where the fog was thickest, and though he saw nothing, the wind carried a voice through the trees, faint, sorrowful, eternal. Wait for me.
The nights that followed were no longer quiet. Something had changed in Lydia's dreams. The air felt heavier, alive with whispers she could almost understand. Her world of fog and silver light began to shift, to take shape, as if the dream itself had opened a door. And through that door walked him. At first, he appeared only as a blur, a shadow in the mist, a flicker among candle flames. But each night he came closer, and the blur became form, the shadow became warmth. Ethan Carter, the man whose laughter had once brushed the edges of her sleep, now stood before her in the moonlit streets of her dreaming. He did not see her yet, but his presence rippled through the air like a chord struck on some celestial instrument. Lydia watched him move through Maplewood's reflection, a dream town that glowed faintly beneath a glass sky. Lanterns floated above the streets, suspended by no strings. Leaves fell upward, drawn toward the moon instead of the earth. And every color shimmered as though seen through tears. In that dream city, Ethan would pause sometimes, glancing over his shoulder, sensing eyes upon him. And Lydia, heart trembling, would hide among the misted corners, afraid her longing might break the fragile world around her. Each night she whispered, "Please, see me." But the curse was cruel. It allowed her to watch, never to touch. Her hand would reach for him and dissolve into light before it could meet his. And yet, love is the oldest kind of magic. It can make even the impossible bend. One night, as the moon spilled her silver across the dreaming sky, Ethan stopped. He turned, truly turned, his gaze meeting hers for the first time. The world seemed to still. The lanterns froze mid-flicker. The mist forgot to move. "Who are you?" he asked, though his voice sounded half asleep, half awake. "Why do I feel as though I've known you forever?" Lydia trembled. Her voice came as a whisper of wind, soft and aching. "Because you have. In every shadow between worlds, I've watched you. In every heartbeat between dreams, I've called your name." Ethan stepped closer, the air between them shimmering like the surface of a lake about to break. "I don't understand," he said. "Are you real?" "I'm as real as you believe me to be," Lydia answered, a faint smile touching her lips. "And if you believe long enough, I may awaken." For the first time in her long cursed life, the dream felt warm. Ethan's eyes held her like the promise of morning. And though the veil of the curse trembled between them, something ancient stirred, a magic stronger than fear, older than the ghost that had bound her. But love in dreams is fragile.
The moment her heart dared hope, the winds began to rise. The fog thickened, the lanterns dimmed. A voice, deep and cold, rolled through the sky like thunder through bone. "You forget your place, child of sleep. Dreams are not meant to touch the living. Love them, and you will lose them." Lydia clutched her chest, her breath fracturing into light. "Please, don't take this from me." But the voice only laughed, a sound that turned the stars black. Ethan reached for her. "Lydia, don't fade!" Their hands nearly met, so close that her fingertips glowed with the heat of his touch. And then the dream shattered like glass beneath a storm. The world went white. When Lydia awoke, the dawn was gray and silent. The curse had forced her back into sleep's prison once again. But this time, she carried something new within her. Hope. For even in that cruel awakening, she had seen it. Ethan's face, his voice, his sorrow. He had seen her. And once love is seen, it cannot be unremembered. Outside, the Halloween moon sank into the horizon, but Lydia smiled through her tears. Somewhere in the waking world, a man had heard her name in the wind. And she knew when next the moon rose full and silver, he would search for her again. For love, once called across worlds, never stops echoing.
Halloween returned like a long-awaited heartbeat. The town of Maplewood shimmered beneath ribbons of fog and flame. Lanterns swung from doorways, their glass eyes winking gold. Music drifted through the streets, laughter echoing against the bones of the old houses. And high above, the moon hung low and silver, heavy with the promise of memory. In her quiet room, Lydia stirred. For months she had slept, wrapped in silken shadow. But tonight the air felt different, alive, trembling, aware. The clock struck 12. Her eyes opened, and the world flooded back in one breath. Scent of autumn wood smoke, the far-off hum of celebration, the soft call of her own name on the wind. She rose slowly, as if rising from beneath water. Her reflection wavered in the mirror, half woman, half dream, until the light steadied and her form became whole. And when she stepped outside, the world seemed to bend around her presence. Even the mist bowed as she passed. In the crowd below, Ethan Carter walked alone, lantern glow brushing his face. He felt her before he saw her, the same chill, the same warmth, the same impossible pull that had haunted his dreams since that night of broken glass and thunder. When their eyes met, the noise of Maplewood dissolved. The music faded, the laughter fell away, and only the sound of two hearts remained. "Lydia," he whispered. The name tasted like a prayer. She smiled through trembling breath. "Ethan, you found me." He reached for her hand, and this time the world did not stop him. Flesh met flesh, warm, trembling, alive. The curse groaned somewhere deep in the unseen dark, but their joined hands blazed with light too fierce to break. They walked together beneath the ghostly trees, words spilling softly between them, fragments of wonder, disbelief, and fragile joy. She told him of the dreams, the voice, the curse that bound her between realms. He told him of the nights he'd wandered sleepless, hearing her name in every whisper of the wind. "I don't care what you are. Dream, ghost, witch, it doesn't matter. I know you. I've always known you."
Her eyes glimmered with unshed tears. "And if my curse returns, if dawn steals me again, then I'll chase every sunrise until I find you. Love doesn't vanish with morning, it becomes the light." They stood close, their breath mingling with the fog, and for one perfect moment, time bowed to them.
But the dark is never far when love defies it. A sudden gust tore through the street, lanterns shattered, shadows spilled like ink. From every corner of the town, whispers rose, cold, serpentine, furious. The curse had awakened, jealous of what it could not control. The fog thickened into shapes, arms, faces, memories of forgotten grief. Ethan pulled Lydia behind him, but she raised her hand. A glow flared from her fingertips, soft at first, then searing. The wind bent backward, the shadows hissed.
"You will not take him," she said, her voice steady as steel. "I am not the child you cursed, I am the witch you created." The dark recoiled, but a deeper presence stirred, ancient, immense. The ghost who had bound her so long ago rose from the mist, eyes burning like pale moons. "Foolish heart," it thundered, "do you think love can undo fate?" Lydia stepped forward, her hair whipping in the storm. "Fate does not frighten me," she answered. "Only the emptiness of living without love." The ghost reached out its hand, cold, endless, but Ethan took hers tighter. Their joined light flared bright enough to paint the fog gold. For the first time, the ancient voice faltered. And then, somewhere deep within the night, another voice spoke, warm, immense, and kind. It was the elder spirit, the guardian of all that walks between worlds. "You have proven what even the heavens forget, that love is the only magic greater than fear." The ghost shrieked, its form unraveling into sparks. The storm broke, the moon burned clean. Lydia fell against Ethan's chest, breathless, trembling, but alive. When she looked up, the elder spirit hovered over them, gentle as dawn. "Child of shadow, your curse is nearly ended, but one choice remains. Stay bound to magic, eternal yet apart from the living, or become fully human and risk the pain that mortals know." Ethan turned to her, eyes soft. "Whatever you choose, I'll walk beside you." Lydia smiled, a smile born of centuries of sleep and a single night of love. "Then I choose life, and I choose you." The spirit bowed its luminous head. "So it shall be." Light poured through the streets of Maplewood, chasing every shadow into memory. When the glow faded, only the two of them remained, hand in hand, hearts awake, the world around them sighing in relief. Dawn arrived, like a hymn the world had forgotten to sing. Soft gold spilled across Maplewood, washing the mist from its bones. The air, once heavy with whispers, now shimmered with the quiet after rain. That sacred hush that follows when something dark finally breaks and light is born again. Lydia stood with Ethan on the hill above the sleeping town. Below them, rooftops glowed, the chimneys breathing little sighs of smoke into the pale morning sky. The old trees rustled gently, as if bowing to her, to the witch who had chosen love over eternity. She felt the magic within her pulse one last time, the echo of the world between worlds. It no longer chained her.
It lingered only as warmth, like the memory of fire once burning in winter. "Is it truly over?" Ethan asked, his voice quiet, reverent. She looked toward the horizon, where the sun and the moon brushed for a fleeting instant, and smiled. No curse lasts when the heart refuses to fear it. He took her hand, and they walked down the hill as the light grew stronger. Every step she took felt like her first, solid, mortal, filled with small wonders she had never known. The chill of dew beneath her feet, the scent of bread from a baker's window, the sound of laughter not bound by dreams, all these were spells greater than any she had ever cast. The people of Maplewood, waking to the new day, paused to stare. They had always whispered of Lydia Harper, the sleeping witch, the girl of moonlight. But now they saw her as she was, alive, human, radiant. And at her side walked the man who had waited through seasons and shadows just to hold her hand in daylight. Weeks passed, and Maplewood learned peace again. Lanterns still hung each Halloween, but now they glowed not with fear, but memory. The memory of a night when love and light conquered the old curse that haunted their town. Lydia and Ethan built a small home by the riverbank. Its windows caught the moonlight just so, and sometimes travelers swore they saw soft glows within, not of fire, but of magic, gentle and kind. The same magic that had once divided them now watched over them like a guardian, unseen, yet smiling.
On quiet evenings, when autumn returned and leaves drifted gold and slow, Lydia would sit by the water's edge. Ethan would join her, his hand finding hers, and they would watch the moon rise. The same moon that had once been her prison, now shining as her friend. "Do you ever miss it?" he asked once. "The dreams?" She turned to him, her eyes reflecting the silver light. "Dreams are still with me," she said softly. "They live in every heartbeat, every breath we share. The difference is, now I get to wake up with you." He smiled, and the wind carried their laughter into the trees. The river murmured in reply, telling their story to the stars. Years passed like verses in a song. Their love aged but never dimmed. It only deepened, like moonlight soaking into water. And even when time finally came to call them home, Maplewood kept their legend alive. Children grew up hearing the tale of Lydia Harper, the witch who slept through centuries, who loved a man made of sunlight, and who chose to live as mortal just to feel the warmth of his hand in hers. And every Halloween, when the moon rose full and silver over the quiet town, some swore they saw two figures walking the old lantern path, one cloaked in soft light, the other shadowed in gold, their laughter mingling with the wind, eternal, gentle, free. The moon itself seemed to glow brighter on those nights, as if remembering, as if blessing them once more. For love once born of magic never truly dies. It becomes the magic that shapes the world, the unseen whisper in the leaves, the hush before dawn, the warmth between two hearts that dare to find each other again and again across the endless turning of time. And so the legend ends, not with farewell, but with forever. And if this tale whispered to your heart, if you felt the breath of magic, the ache of love, and the shimmer of the moon, then let your light join ours.
Like the story, share its echo, and subscribe to walk with us again for more nights of wonder, more whispers beneath the stars.